Hello, this is Arcades, and welcome to another how-to episode here on Stormworks Build and Rescue. And, last time we talked about strings here on some of the Lua stuff. Well, you know what? I think it's time we actually start talking about the different drawing commands so we can do different shapes. And basically, we're going to go over them, review what each of the inputs are for, and give a basic, just example of them on the screen. So, So, hope you enjoy what you watch. Hope you like what you see. If you do, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Helps the channel out immensely. And, let's get into this. Okay. So, like I said, last time we did strings and showed you how you can do some basic formatting and gave a link to some info to do if you want to do some more advanced stuff, you can. It's not one of my strong suits, but hey, I did what I could. So, now what we're going to do is I want to go over the different shaping, the different drawing commands. Now, we're not going to do any real manipulation with them. I'm just going to give examples of how they're used and how to fill out the arguments that are a part of each command. And we're just going to do basic examples of how they look on the screen. So, you're going to at least get to see how they work and such. So, alright. Okay, we're in the script here. You can see this has still got all the stuff from our last one. Well, we're going to go over here to the Help tab. And what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down and we have the drawing section. Now, here you have a whole bunch of different things listed. And what these are all the different ways you can manipulate the screen to draw something on it. Now, I'm going to go over them real quick, and then we're going to go through each one and explain what it does. So, right now we have, first ones we have here, you have the set color with RGB. That's your red color, your green color, your blue color, and they all range from 0 to 255. That's each individual argument. So, it's a good way to use this is if you have a plan or an idea, you could probably go mess with the color tool or the paint tool in the build editor to find out a color you want, and then take those color numbers and come back into here. Or you can use a color picker on a secondary something like paint or something like that. You can find your sources of whatever you want for your RGB. So you can set the color. Now, I showed in a previous example of, if we come over here to the script, where we were setting the color, like right here, and then there's also this set color, because the thing is as I showed earlier, it when it goes to draw something, it looks at the most recent, it takes the most recent color set and draws under that color. So you would set the color, do your command, and then if you want to change the color for another command, then you would hit set color again. Now, down here, they're talking about the draw with transparency. And they add a fourth argument, which is A. This is your opacity, transparency. It just means how much it sees through. So in other words, the color behind it, it will bleed through. So if you got something, say you want like a ghost an image or something, you would use the transparency to lighten it up. That way it fades out and it's not as solid. There are things to use this for, and I'll go over that probably in a later video. But right now, that's the purpose. It just is making stuff thinner so you can see through it, and that has its own purpose and effects. So, alright, next is clear the screen with the current color. Basically, it makes your background that color. It'll wipe the screen clear of whatever you have, and then makes the background that color. That's going to be your starting color for your background. So whatever your last set color is, and then you hit this, your background will be that color. Now, we have, after that, oh shit, I didn't realize that. Now we have your first real, like, drawing command. So here we have is draw line. Screen.draw line x1, y1, x2, xy. Now, as I explained before, what the x and y's are reference to the screen pixels. So if you want to draw from one corner of the screen down to the other corner of the screen, you would literally go 0, 0 to, say, 31, 31. That would be a 1x1 screen. So 0, 0 to 31, 31, that would go from your top left to your bottom right. Or you could do, 0, 0 to 0, 31. And that would be from the top left to the bottom left. I'm saying that hoping I'm actually did that right. Yeah, so that's pretty simple and straightforward. You're just telling it draw a line between 2 pixels on the screen. Draw a circle. What this does, you find your coordinate where you want to put the center of the circle at, which is x and y, what pixel, and then the radius, like how wide. Now, this means when you draw, it's basically, the best way to think of it is you're drawing a line from the xy out, so far, and then uses that to draw the circle. So if, like, you remember from the earlier example, I using the throttle with the circle they give you as a default to change the radius. That was what it was doing. It was changing the size of the circle through the radius, but it was keeping the position the same. Now, what this does is it draws a circle, just a line, so to speak. Because the reason why that's the point is we have the next command, which is draw circle F. Basically, draw a circle filled. So whereas this one is just a line circle, this one will actually draw a solid circle. That's what they use with the default when you first load up the screen and you see that circle sitting on the screen. That's the circle F command. So circle filled. It has the same arguments. It just what it pops up on the screen is different. Now, here we go. New one. Draw rectangle. It says draw a rectangle at x and y with width and height. Now, this is the top left of the rectangle, is what it is. It's not the center of the rectangle, it is the top left of the rectangle. So when you go to draw it, and you go to say x and y, you will be telling it where you want to start at the top left, and then the width will work from there. So if you say, I want to draw, a rectangle that is all but the very edge of the screen, say like you want a 1 pixel width from the edge of the screen, you would say x, you would put in xy would be your 1, 1, and your width, now this is how wide you want the box to be, and height is how tall the box is going to be in the screen. Remember, when you go to the height, that means you're telling it to draw downwards, and the width is telling it to draw to the right. So the width would be, if you want to go all the way but to the last pixel, well, the screen is 32 wide. We're already moving in 1. So that's already knocking the size down to a 31 at minimum. But we want to come in 1 more from that, so it'd be a 30. So you would put a box of 30 for the width, and the height would be the same thing because we're going. So it would be a draw rectangle from 1, 1 and 30, 30. And that would give you an outline border, basically 1 pixel from the width of a 1x1 screen. Obviously, you would adjust that based on the screen size that you're using, but for this case, most of these examples, I'll probably be using 1x1s to word with, but when I go to show you them, it'll be by a 2x2 because that's what we have available to us right now. Okay, so, and then draw rectangle F is just like draw circle F. It's just a filled in version. Draw rectangle just gives you a line. in the shape, draw a rectangle gives you a filled in block. Now, typically a lot of the times the draw rectangle is used for, the draw rectangle filled is used for doing, like bar graphs, showing bars going up and down. Typically that's what it's used for in most, early applications. We'll probably be going over the math of some of that stuff later on, but not here. Alright, so next one we have is the draw triangle. X1, Y1, X2, Y2, X3, Y3. You're basically telling it to where to put the 3 points of a triangle down, and it connects each of them with a line. This is the same thing with triangle F. So whatever I'm going to say about triangle, same with triangle F, except it's a filled triangle. That's basically the difference between the F versions and the regulars, is that the regulars are just lines where the F version is filled. F, filled, pretty straightforward. So, yeah, in this case, you'd just be going, like I said, the 3 points. So you would go, say, 1, 1, 20, 20 and 5, and then maybe 1 and 22. 3 points on a triangle, that's about as simple as it gets. Now, the fun part is when you're trying to figure out and use them in applications that move, and you got to manage the 3 points all at the same time. And you got to say, hey, where am I building this at? That's when it gets hard, because you've got to actually do, say if you, like I did a triangle pointer, waypoint pointer, and the hard part is that it's actually trying to figure out, like, I've got it centered around a point, and you have the 2 points at the bottom are rotating around that at the top of, as the same time as the one at the top is rotating around that. It's an interesting, fun scenario. I'll just say that much. Okay, now, next. Then we have the draw text. That was part of the last episode with the strings. And then we have draw map. This will draw a map on the screen starting from X, Y, and then it gives the zoom of the map. I'm going to dedicate an episode to the map alone, so I'm not going to go over it too deeply right now. But if you just want to draw a map on a screen, that's all you need. That's it. It's a really simple function. There's not a lot to it. Yeah. So then we have this one. Actually, these are more for manipulating the map values, so you can sit there and change the colors of different aspects of the map. And I wouldn't, like I said, I'm going to dedicate that to later. Oh, this was added. These colors do not apply to the moon map. But yes. So these all change different sections of the map and various things you can do there. And then we have the screen. So, and then, yeah, so all the rest of the map. So basically, the big main drawing functions we have is the coloring, draw a circle, draw a rectangle, and draw a triangle. And then we have all our text stuff and the map. And you can fill these all out manually in a set script to create certain backgrounds. You can set them up so they're designed for certain screens and manipulate them based on that. But, yeah. Let's get into some examples. Okay, so now let's actually just draw some of these things. So I'm just going to come here. Yes, I haven't got rid of the stuff that we've been talking about previously yet, but we're going to go over the first command in the list. First shape, at least. Actually, we're going to come over to this one. We're going to do the set screen color. Like I said, you can just copy and paste. what you have here, and then we just paste it right there. And for this, we're gonna say 255, 255, and 255. So that'll set the color to white. Now, we can't actually see it doing anything with that. So all I'm gonna do is, as a thing is, basically, we're gonna grab this right here. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna paste that there. And this will be just an example to show us what the color is. We have changed this to 255, 255, 255, which should be white. And as you can see, it is now white. Okay, so we have set the color to white. Okay, so now we're going to show the next command, the transparency, which is just adding a fourth argument to the color. So we're going to comma, and then I'm just going to go 150. And now as you see, it is more transparent. Now you can tell it's actually transparent because if you look through this A, you can see the green is kind of blending with the gray color. But it looks faded. It's a lot more apparent in other things, but basically, yes, it becomes more see-through. Okay, now we're going to hit the next one, which is draw clear. So we'll just simply paste it in. Now, as you can see, it has now created the background completely white. It has cleared the screen. Okay, so now we're back in here. We're going to look at the next command. We're going to look at screen.drawLine. So as I said before, it was basically you're just drawing a line between x1 and x2. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it right here. So now we're going to be drawing a line, and I'm going to put in a set of coordinates, and let's see if you can figure out what I'm going to do. Okay, so here's the coordinates I put in. I have it going from x of a 2, a y of 46. Second coordinates is also x42, and second coordinates x46. So I'm drawing a line. Can you guess what I am planning on doing? Alright, and there we go. And with that, I drew a line underneath the name. Pretty straightforward, right? Just drawing a line. Okay, now for the next thing. Well, I am actually going to... We're going to blank the previous coloring things out. So now the only thing that should be left on the screen is my name being written in the white transparency, in that kind of transparent white, and set to, and the line. So we're going to come over here now. We're going to start another line, go to help, and we'll grab the circle. So we've got this placed down now. So we're going to put, let's see. I don't want to go complete in these. How about we just do 31. No. We'll do 15 for the X, 15 for the Y. And the radius will be 7. Not a big circle, but it should put it in the top left corner. See, there we go. We have a drawn circle in the upper left. Now, we're going to use the next command, which is the draw circle F. So I'm just going to paste it in. And for this, I'm actually going to get a little fun. And we're going to start at the same center. And except this time, I'm actually going to change the radius to 6. And this should have an interesting effect. You notice it drew the circle inside the circle, but it's not completely flush because of how it processes the drawings. So keep that in mind when you want to do stuff like that. It can get a little interesting. Now we're going to do something else before that. I want to place in between the draw circles, let's add another color shift. And let's go like, let's just go red. Let's just make it red at the beginning. And I'm going to add the same transparency. You see? Now we have a red circle inside of a white circle. Kind of looks like a button, doesn't it? Alright, now, we're going to look at the next one, which is the rectangles. Control V. So we are going to start in the center of this one. Or actually, no, we're going to... let's see, we got draw text at 238. So we're going to go 1, let's see, what is that, 38? $36. So to start a little bit above and to the left. The width, see, we did 40 for that, so we're going to do 44 for the width. And the height of the box will be 9. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be also red. Look, we've now put a box around the name of Arcades. And, you know, you can go in there and then make a little bit of, you know, adjustments. So, yeah, we could go, like, we'd actually change that to 0 to add a little bit more space. That'll shift the whole box over, so that should align correctly. And I think vertically it was fine. I think it might have been a little too tall. So, I'm going to change that to an 8. Okay, it looks like the box is a little wide, so we're going to make that adjustment. So we're going to go 43 instead. One more. Okay, so now we have the rectangle all the way around the name. Okay, so we had the box around my name. Now we're going to look at the next command, which will be rectangle filled. So we'll grab that. And we are just going to go Control V. Now I am just going to go ahead and copy all of that, and we're going to place it right here. Now, one other thing I'm going to do before that, however, is I'm going to change the color one more time. So this time I've set it to blue. So it's going to draw this rectangle at blue. Well, as you can see, it's kind of merged in. It did what I wanted, but not. It's messing with the red border, and I don't want it to mess with the red border. So what's a way I could fix that? Okay, so to fix that bleeding, you have to, in a previous episode, one of the previous episodes, I talked about how it executes the script from top to bottom. So it's trying to draw that blue square last. So it's getting put on top of everything. If I go and change this transparency down to 0, in other words, I remove it from the equation because I had set that transparency in, now instead of bleeding through, it's just completely covered. Again, not what we want. So I can't do that. So to fix that, we need to grab the color change plus our command, and I'm going to cut it, and then we're going to come up here before the screen set color, and I'm going to paste it back in. So now it'll set it to blue. I'm going to go ahead and re-add the transparency because I did want the transparency. It'll draw the rectangle, and then it sets back the color and execute all of this. And now we have my name in white with a blue background and a red border with a white underline. And you see, that's how you can layer all these different commands to create images on a screen. You just got to remember the order that it goes in. I know that's kind of a tangent of what I was wanting to show you, but I was trying to show you all the commands while giving you something that you can see gets layered together into an image. Okay, so next on the list is we have the draw triangle. So let's just get that copied. And we are going to put another color change here. Okay, so now I've set the color to green, RGB, 0255, 0, green. And then we're going to paste in the triangle. Now, we want to put down the 3 coordinate points. Okay, so here are my coordinates. I'm going to be 50x, 40 on the y for the first coordinates, 54 on the x, and 36 on the y for the second set of coordinates, and 54 on the x, and 44 on the y on the third set of coordinates. And let's see what this brings forth. Yay! I've got a little triangle that's pointing at my name. Right? Straightforward. Now we're going to take the last one, which will be the filled one. We'll paste that in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use these coordinates as well, but I'm going to make a little bit of a manipulation. Okay, so I've got the second set of coordinates altered. We're still using 50 for x. All the x's are the same. So I've changed all the y values. So now we're going to be drawing a filled triangle with the y coordinates of 15 for the first one. Y2 will be 11 and Y3 will be 19. You have an idea what's going to probably happen here? If all the x values are different, but the y's are the same, What do you think that's going to do? It made a filled triangle straight above the empty one. So you know what that looks like? It looks like a basic selector. Like the top option is selected. Yeah, so you can do, they do have in the game where options with the Lua to make it to where you could actually make it look like you're pressing a button, you know, with this and filled in whatever. Like I said, that'll be something we'll go over later, but for now, this is an example of what you can do with each of the different drawing commands. I could have just literally just, you know, pasted each block individually, but I wanted to show you how you could apply them together with each of those commands. To use the color, to use the clear. Well, granted, the clear I just gave an example, but, you know, you can stack circles together to create kind of a pseudo button. You can stack your name along with the box and use the unfilled box, and you can create yourself what looks like a nameplate. Or you can use the triangles to create what looks like a selector. These are all things you can do, and these are just with the basic commands. It's just merely using the effects to your advantage and layering properly to create the effect you want in drawing. So, anyways. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave this one off here today, and as you can see, we went over each of the drawing commands and what they produce. And I tried to show you a little bit of basic layering and how to put them together to create images of whatever you want. So yeah, hope you had a good time. Hope you enjoyed what you watched. If you did, you know the deal, you know the spiel. This is Arcades, signing out. Have yourself a good day. Whee!